was a great explanation. Ewan, the complexity of this thing, many levels, depends what year you were born, when you came here, what year your parents' island got independence, what were the subsequent legislations in the UK, not just primary legislation, but what are the administrative technical changes to the law that have been applied whilst you've been here. Now, I know that you guys have had to study for years to get comprehensive understanding of what this all means. Tell us a little bit about it.
Right, Lee. The immigration legislation coupled with nationality legislation is very, very complex.
It is.
It takes experts to figure this out, and even some experts I've spoken to still don't have a clear understanding of what the law is. I think even the Home Office, and I've dealt with them on many occasions, the Nationality Policy Department, don't know exactly what the legislation is.
So the people who are supposed to know in the Home Office don't know?
No.
Right.
And I get that all the time. And, you know, they would say in their letters only the courts can determine conclusively who is or who is not a British citizen. And for clear reasons, the legislation were written in such a way to discriminate against certain individuals. And what we're finding, most of those individuals came from British colonies. And I'll give you an example. My grandfather came on the Windrush. And although the Home Office says to Sky News and other media outlets that he didn't, and I'm not a child of the Windrush generation, he did. And when he came here in 1955, he was a citizen of the United Kingdom and Colonies. He could enter this country without permission.
See, this is what I don't understand. Some of you all here, Mrs. Adams, you were born British.
Mrs. Richards.
Richards, Adams.
Yes.
Mrs. Richards.
Yes, I came here in 56.
You came here in 56.
Yes, and I came in a British passport.
You were already British.
Yes.
So why do I keep hearing...
I was a British subject in Jamaica at the time.
You was already a British subject.
We came here on a British passport.
And then when you came here, Ewan, then that generation then was forced to apply and pay money to become British again?
That's right. I paid £73.
You paid 73?
To be nationalized. So did my husband and my in-laws. We had to pay.
And when was that? In the 70s?
Yes.
There you go. So people who were already British got here and then had to pay to be British again.
Yes.
Right. Now, going by what she said, she came in 1956. That's roughly 6 years before Jamaica became independent. Now, under the 71 Act, Section 2, subsection 1C says that if you were here for 5 years or more as a citizen of the United Kingdom and Colonies before 1973, you qualify for the right of abode in the United Kingdom, a status which is equal to British citizenship. So why then was she required to naturalize?
So she had to pay money for something she didn't need because she had the right to abode anyway. Is that what you're telling us?
Exactly, yes.
And that's why a lot of people, that you should be paid compensation plus interest. Both of you.
He came at 55
Give us a mic.
and I came 56.
Right.
And we both have to be nationalized. And
Wow.
it was £73 we had to pay the 73.
Right.
Terrible.
For a nationalized.
Terrible. We've got Hillary on the phone coming from Wales. So as soon as you finish, Ewan, I'm going to take Hillary and hear what's happening down there in Tiger Bay and Cardiff Bay and all them places.
Right, so we have very many people who are in the same category as Miss Richards, is it? Richards. They came here, they had the right of abode. Even though their country became independent from Britain, they continue to have the right of abode in the United Kingdom as a Commonwealth citizen. That's actually in the legislation.
Right.
There were many different pieces of legislation passed during the 60s. I think there was 2 Commonwealth Immigrants Acts, which barred, firstly, some Commonwealth immigrants from independent countries, and then some Commonwealth immigrants who were citizens of the United Kingdom and Colonies held British passports, but because those passports were not issued in the United Kingdom, but in a colony, on behalf of the British government, they were also barred from coming here or required permission to come to the United Kingdom.
You see what I think? My own view? My own view is, and I hear what you say about that distinction, but I think there was distinguishing between white Commonwealth citizens and black Commonwealth citizens.
Indeed.
And they wanted a mechanism to order and see if they could affect that. There's no think about it, says Paul at the back. And we're going to come to you in a little while, Paul. And so what they did is change the law so they could facilitate their discrimination. Am I right on that?
Right, indeed.
Oh, okay.
Indeed. I mean, so people from the non-white colonies were barred from coming here. They required permission to do so.
The black colonies.
The black colonies. And this happened during the time of Enoch Powell.
Right.
When he made his speech,
Yeah.
and Parliament had to rush, I think it was 2 days
After the speech.
to pass legislation. Within 2 days, they had to rush legislation through Parliament to give into that right-wing behavior.
Much as Cameron did to UKIP, which has led us to Brexit, right?
Right, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Now, you can see my shirt.
Oh, have we got that shirt?
You can
Yeah.
see my shirt. This.
Show them the back too.
This
You got the back too? Windrush generation.
This is Theresa May's hostile environment.
That's it.
This environment has been hostile from since the 60s,
Yep,
when our foreparents came here.
that's right.
And what we're realizing now is that my grandfather, for instance, and this lady here, who had the right of abode in the United Kingdom,
Right.
had that status by descent.
So let's get this right. People had the right to be British by virtue of descent from their parents.
Well, no, that's not exactly what I'm saying.
Be clear.
They had the right of abode in the United Kingdom,
Which is equal to the right of citizenship.
which is equal to citizenship.
Right.
But because they came from these colonies, that right of abode under
Technically
Section
excluded.
21C was categorized as by descent.
That's
now, I'll
right.
give you an example. Someone who was not a citizen of the UK colonies, from, say, Spain or Argentina, who came here and qualified for naturalization and naturalized in the United Kingdom, got their right of abode under Section 2, subsection 1A, which is otherwise than by descent. And that citizenship can then be transmitted to generations into the future.
Politics and
The same-
politics.
yes, this is the same thing you're talking about when
absolutely.
you say colonies like independent
New
countries
Zealand.
like New Zealand and Australia. Their grandparents,
Yeah.
people from those countries can get citizenship in the United Kingdom via their grandparents.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it was systematically designed so that people from the black colonies could not do that between a certain period, 1973 to 83, before that anomaly was fixed.
I think, you see, we're getting into the weeds and it'll be hellishly complex for people to follow us. But I think we get the gist of what's being said, that many people were already entitled to citizenship or right to abode and have been frustrated in accessing it because of the wrong advice being given by Home Office or officials or so on and so forth. So it's very important that we do get this legal advice. I can't stress it enough. I do know we've got a call and we'll come back to you, Ewen. Can we take the call from Wales?